Franklin County Board of County Commissioners is now in session for this regular meeting Wednesday, March 26th. It's good to have everyone here this morning. We're going to go ahead and get started. Commissioner Ward, would you lead us in prayer and pledge?
Yes. Lord, we come to you today as we conduct our county business. We pray for everyone in the community that just needs your guided touch, Lord, or anybody else that just needs your touch. We pray that you will just guide and protect our paths today and our decisions that we make for the county on behalf of our districts and our counties, and in your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Morone, are there any amendments to the agenda?
No, Commissioner, I would tell you a couple of things on mine, informational items that I failed to add to it because an update from
Yes.
the commissioners on the 2 days you guys spent up in Tallahassee last week.
Right.
And also Courtney Bankston, yesterday she got finished with the new app for the compliance.
Yep.
You know, where it shows the map and everything. She'd like to display that this morning. And we have the first step. We've started with getting the peddlers permits, ordinance licenses.
Mm-hmm.
That's also now online. So she wants to just display that for the board.
Okay, is she gonna do that, like during the P and Z part of the?
Probably do my
Okay,
report, yes,
okay.
sir. And I don't know if Erin has any changes. She didn't signify that yesterday, so.
Okay.
I have two additions to my report, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
They're both procedural in nature. One is requesting board authorization to publish an RFP for the 24-25 REAP grant that you're processing. Then the other is requesting a public hearing to consider amendments to the parking ordinance.
okay, all right. So with these amendments to the agenda, do we have a motion to approve?
So move.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Ward. It has been seconded by Commissioner Sanders. Any discussion, commissioners? All right, all in favor? Any opposed? That is unanimous. Up next is payment of the county bills.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Sanders.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Croom. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. Mr. Rowan, you said there were no public comments, correct?
Correct, Mr. Chairman. None received in-house and none online.
Okay, Ms. Daniels, you are up next.
Good morning, Commissioners. I have three action items on the board report. The first one is I'm requesting the board signature and approval of the interlocal agreement between the county and the school board. They do our transportation in and out of the county to shelters in Leon or wherever we need to move people to during a storm. And this is just an update. We update it yearly. It's the same one we do every year.
All right, is the other one the same kind of thing?
Yes, sir. It's
updating
just
the
with
MOU?
ARC on the Gulf.
All right, please read that and we'll just vote for both of them at the same time.
Yes, sir. Request the board's signature and approval of the memorandum of agreement between the county and ARC on the Gulf transportation. And this one's for the transportation of our special needs clients to a special needs shelter and
All right,
return.
pleasure of the board.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Croom,
Second.
second by Commissioner Ward. Any discussion on updating these MOUs? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous.
My last action item is I'm requesting the board's approval to change the title of my special needs coordinator to an emergency management specialist. I'm not asking for a salary change. I'm not asking for a job description change. My primary goal is to kind of move us in the same direction as other counties as far as what our titles are. And we are the only county that I know of in the state of Florida with a special needs coordinator. So I just would like to
Okay.
change that if possible.
All right, pleasure of the board.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Amison,
Second.
second by Commissioner Croom. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous, 5-0. Anything else, Ms.
The
Jill?
only other thing I have, and I'm not gonna read all of this because it's a lot, we did our communications exercise. We hauled the mobile command that we've done up off of Gully Branch Road last weekend. And Commissioner Sanders come and met us up there. We had a nice crew of people up there, volunteers and our staff. We tested all of the communications abilities in that mobile command, for everything from VHF, ham, UHF, CB, handhelds, even our Starlink, everything worked. We have a 5-mile range from the mobile command out to handheld and vehicle radios, further with vehicles than the handhelds. It was wonderful. Everything went great, so.
Jim, on your report, so that one that had the least amount of distance, is that about normal for what you were trying to do?
That one, yes. The
Okay.
one that had the least amount of distance is a $20 Baofeng little handheld
Okay.
ham radio. And we actually, with all the trees and everything, we really didn't know if we were even gonna get the 2 miles out of it.
Right.
And we got 2 miles out of it, but when we switched over to one just a little bigger with a little more power and the bigger antenna, we got right at 5 miles with it.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
that's good. Commissioners, y'all have any questions for Ms. Jennifer while she's here?
Just a statement.
All right, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman. Those 8 watts, you know, the handheld, the 8 watts, they put out about 5 miles.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I don't know what was yours, 5 watt?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you need to get you an 8 watt.
That's what the bigger one that Tim had, the bigger brick. We
Yeah.
try to keep it with the easiest to carry, and what we are going to test is, Commissioner Sanders, is actually switching the antennas on the little 5 watts to the longer antennas to see if we can maybe pick up a little bit more there. So, and it's still not making the radio real heavy, because the 8 watt is significant. The 5 watt's about this big, and the 8's significantly larger. And so we're hoping maybe that'll do it. But if not, we're gonna go to the bigger. We have 4 of the bigger now, of the 8.
Well, and I'm glad you did that, because that way you know what you're gonna be communicating during a storm,
Yes, ma'am.
you know?
Yes,
And I
ma'am.
mean, that basically cut off over there
Yes,
on
ma'am.
that end, like up on 65. So I'm glad you did it, and I'm glad you invited me. I appreciate that.
It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Anyone else?
If I may, Mr.
Yes.
Chairman, I'd like to thank Jennifer for all her help with the Everbridge Nixle system.
Yes.
So you guys are going to be my guinea pigs here next week. You're going to get a text later this week to sign up for it, and we'll send some test messages to you guys, because we don't want to test the entire group accidentally. You know, those that are looking for emergency calls, but she was instrumental in getting us to where we are with that, and it looks like it's going to work really good.
Good.
So thank you.
Yes, my pleasure.
Yeah, we hope you never have to use all that emergency radio stuff, but thanks for having us prepared.
I hope so too.
That would be good.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Jenny.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
All right, now we're doing a second public hearing on the CDBG grant application. Mr. Dennis Dingman. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Commissioners. Denny Dingman, Summit Professional Services. Yes, this is the second public hearing to consider whether Franklin County would want to proceed with the submission of a FFY 23-24 CDBG grant. The first public hearing was held on February 18th, 2025. And since that public hearing, by the way, the agency, Florida Commerce, has suspended all the rules concerning the CDBG program. Reason for that is they have a whole bunch of money they haven't spent yet. And so what they decided to do, $40 million basically, what they've decided to do is say, okay, we're gonna suspend all the rules as to how much you can submit for, whether you have a grant running or not, you can submit again, and basically all the rules. And so it's going to be like a lottery this time. In the 30 years we've been doing this, we've never seen this happen before. But as I was explaining to Michael, with the new administration and the governor, of course, looking at every dollar, I think the agency is concerned that they'd have to return some money, so they don't want to do that.
Right.
So we're going to submit a grant for, if you all approve, submit a grant for $2 million for the county this year. Normally it would be $700,000. And by the way, I might mention also, the county's limit now has increased from the $700,000 to $750,000 because of the new LMI population growth. And so going forward, the county will be able to apply for the maximum in the program, $750,000. The purpose of this meeting is to present a draft application, and we've sent a copy of the draft application to the county. It was here last week, and this will have to be turned in by May 2nd of this year. So we're asking for a motion to vote to submit the application. We're also asking for a resolution, and this is a resolution that has to go along with the application. Basically, it's enabling resolution, enabling the chairman, and in his absence, the county administrator to sign the application and the documents. This program is to provide benefit to low to moderate income persons, elimination of slum and blight, and of course, if there's a disaster, the CDBG program can cover disaster recovery. The housing rehabilitation program, as you know, assists low to moderate residences with to address safety issues, code violations, and rehabilitate items. And sometimes, if the damage is so much at a residence, so we can replace the home. The county, as I said, is requesting $2 million. We're saying that the county will, at a minimum, address 10 homes, 5 of which will be low to moderate income and 2 for very low income. Now we can do all very low income or, low to moderate income, but these are the minimums. Do we think we can do more with that amount of money? Yes, we do, but there's no reason to overcommit, because if you overcommit, you don't make your commitment, then the money has to go back to the agency. So we want to protect the county in that sense.
Okay.
Of that $2 million, $1,660,000 will be for housing rehabilitation or replacement, $40,000 for temporary relocation, $300,000 for administrative costs, and only folks with low to moderate income are eligible for the program. By the way, that $40,000, the way we came up with that, and these are just budgets, by the way, this money can be moved around. The reason we came up with that $40,000 is the county's anti-displacement policy allows for $500 for move-in, move-out allowance for folks that have to move out of their homes, $1,000 a month, up to $3,000 for living allowance, and a storage allowance of up to $125 a month. I say dollars, that's my New England accent, dollars. I apologize for that. And also for flood insurance for those that require it, 1 year flood insurance. Are there any questions?
I do have one question. So from year to year, have the income levels changed?
What has happened, yeah, they do change from year to year,
Yeah.
that is true.
Yeah.
But what has happened in terms of the increase in the maximum amount is the number of low to moderate income residents living in the county has increased.
Okay.
And so it's reached the threshold that reaches the maximum limit now. So
Right.
prior to that, it was below that threshold, it was only 700,000. I
Right.
think the number is a minimum of 4,500 low to moderate income residents with low to moderate income.
Right.
Once you reach that level, then you raise up to a higher maximum.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to ask Mr. Denny, so I know last time we were able to do this, we had a couple of residents that were unqualified because they made like $1,000 too much in a year.
Right.
I'm wanting to know if those levels moved, that some of those residents
Uh,
could apply and potentially help.
They will move, there should be a new LMI
Okay,
number coming out.
okay,
We will take whatever the latest LMI numbers are. And by the way, if the LMI numbers change during the period of the grant, we will use those numbers.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay. Any other commissioners have any questions? All right, so this is a public hearing. Is there anybody in the room that wishes to comment on this publicly? Come on up here. Mr. Dean, let him come and make some public comment, please. Please
Mason
state your
Bean,
name for the
Concerned
record.
Citizens. Good morning. I don't want to take any money away from those in need. I hope if we don't need it, we don't ask for it, we give it back. Also, I heard our maximum of 700,000 or 750 and 300,000 for administrative cost. I would challenge that. Are we funding bureaucrats? Or are we helping our people in need? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else in the room? Mr. Rome, check on via Zoom, please.
The chairman is calling for anyone online that would like to comment on this item. Please indicate that by using the raise hand feature on your smart device.
So this is a public hearing. You don't have to have a filled out speaker card to speak. You know, if you're wishing to speak, this is your time.
I'll ask one more time. We just had a new person join. If you're interested in speaking on this item, please indicate by raising your hand on your device. No hands raised, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Commissioners, do y'all have any questions for Mr. Denny?
Mr. Chairman, just real quick, Mr. Dingman, is the process for the application gonna be the same as it was last year?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
And can you explain the 300,000 administration cost?
Sure, that is, basically, that's our cost. That is the cost for administering the program, for finding the contractors, for overseeing the work, for submitting all of the requirements of the reporting requirements of the program. It's a 36-month program. So,
And Mr. Chairman, you guys, these administrative costs include, because you guys don't live locally, you come when the person applies, and correct me if I'm wrong, they apply for this program to get monies. You guys come out and do a site visit to see kind of what the person is in need of, whether it's gonna be a rehabilitation or a complete rebuild.
exactly. What we will do is we will hold workshops for homeowners to explain the program, help them with their application. We help them with their applications. We come out to help them with their applications. Of course, remember, we had to come out 2 or 3 times on some of the folks because they had trouble doing their applications. We review their applications, make sure they're in compliance. We will then do an inspection of the program, do a write-up for the contractors to review, review the contractors, make sure that they are licensed and they have insurance and are qualified to do the work. We put that out to bid. We go through the contracting process, which is very similar to what you would see with when you buy a home or do that. File the liens and all the paperwork that goes with that. Then we oversee the project as it's going through to the end.
Thank
And
you.
then we do the administrative closeout on the grant. And there's a whole bunch of administrative work. We have to do 2 environmental reviews, one for the area in general, and then for each home, we have to do a site-specific environmental review, which is about 1.5 inches thick. And in some cases where we have someone living in wetlands, for example, like Mr. Evans last time, we'll have to call in an environmental engineer and get that all approved.
Thank you for answering that.
You're
All
welcome.
right. Anyone else have any questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Actually, I do, Commissioners.
All right.
Mr. Dingman,
Yes.
in looking at the last CDBG housing award, the total amount of the award was $700,000, and in that particular award, the grant administration total did not exceed $105,000. Is that a change?
No, that's basically 15%.
Okay, so in this new program, it will be the same.
Correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
because they're asking for a $2 million award, Miss Aaron.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I heard the 750,000.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, sir.
Aaron beat me to the punch.
Okay.
Well, that does
Wait a
happen,
second.
sir.
We were tracking the same way.
That 15%, by the way, I might mention, is the amount allowed by the agency for that.
All right. Any other questions?
Could I make just a couple more points?
Yes, sir.
In 2021, the average cost of the homes that we did and the one rehab, which was a major rehab for Miss
Richards.
Richards, thank you, was $138,149. So there was just because of the nature of the soil and the elevations and the amount of work that we had to do, we had to remove a lot of homes and things like that. The cost was pretty high. Plus, the cost of everything is high now. I hate to say that. What we've done is we've allotted $170,000 this time. Again, we don't think it'll be that much, but we didn't want to underestimate that and overcommit the county. If the cost for these homes on average is less than that, we can do more homes.
Yeah.
So these are budget numbers, and we can change the budget during the program.
Right. Okay. Any other questions, commissioners? If not, what's the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Amison, second by Commissioner Sanders. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous. So that was the motion to submit the Small Cities Community Development Block Grant Housing Rehabilitation Application to Department of Commerce. We also need a second motion to adopt the attached enabling resolution authorizing the signature of the necessary application documents.
Second. Motion. I'm doing all over.
We have
Come on now, y'all.
a motion by Commissioner Sanders, second by Commissioner Amison. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous. Mr. Denny, thank you.
Thank you so much.
I
Mr.
had my
Chairman,
mind on the
I
Doge.
understand.
those
I'm
documents are in your folder for
Yes.
signature? If you-
Okay.
if you could. Thank you so much.
Oh, they're the ones for him?
Yes, sir.
Okay, no problem.
Aaron's next.
Miss
That's what
Erin
I'm talking.
Griffith, you're next contestant.
Hey there, commissioners.
Morning.
Okay. Let's see, my first action item is the Franklin County Doge response letter. That was included in my report, and it was just board action to approve and authorize the chairman to sign the attached Doge response letter. Basically, they are looking for counties that are in experiencing financial distress, and the county is, we are not in any type of financial distress, and we don't anticipate being either. So that was our response. The letter initially said that we needed to respond by April 9th if we were, and then there was also a statement in the letter that said that if you didn't respond within 45 days, it would be considered non-compliant. So that was, a little bit of conflicting directions as far as the letter is concerned, but we're happy to comply and happy to respond. So that was included as part of the attachments to my report. Okay. And the other items are just board information. So that's
Okay. So, but you do need a vote on and approval and authorize signing the letter, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Pleasure of the board.
So move.
Second one question.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Sanders, second by Commissioner Ward. Go ahead, Commissioner.
So, Aaron, this was just to say that we don't have any issues with paying our county bills. Does that mean they're gonna audit things too? Because I know a lot of people are talking about audits and things of that nature.
It may turn into that, but for one, the county is audited each and every single year. So at this point in time, it's saying that they're going to actually use publicly available information. So that would be things such as our budgets posted online, our audit reports also posted online, and our audit reports are also submitted to the chief financial officer each and every single year. So so they should have a pretty good idea of who the distressed counties are already.
All right, I just want to make a note for that for the record, because I know a lot of publicity's been out there that Liberty County is being doged, Bay County is being doged, so I just want the public to be aware Franklin County is being doged as well, so we're joining the club.
I think it's everybody, because I know they were talking about Orange County the other day, and then Duval County, which is around Jacksonville over there, they were outraged that they were gonna be doged. But you know what? This re-emphasizes that we're taking care of business.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I believe in,
And we got a good person,
yeah, I believe
Aaron
in,
right there, and the clerk's office.
yeah. Transparency is key, and I believe anything we could do to provide that transparency to our public is of the utmost importance in my book, so. Um,
All right. Any other discussion, commissioners? All in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous.
Can we get T-shirts that says we've been doged?
That, and like the little stickers when you vote, you
Yeah.
know?
We're
Yeah.
done.
Miss Aaron, are we having to actually do anything for this SGI stormwater covenants, or is that just information?
That's just informational. They have finally, the U.S. Treasury actually agreed with Attorney Schuler's edits. I do have that document ready for you to sign, and we can get that recorded. And we are hopefully about a week away from having our notice to proceed for the SGI stormwater project.
Okay.
So we're very excited about that. There was kind of a lengthy notice to proceed process going through the U.S. Treasury. So once we get that hurdle cleared, things should start progressing fairly quickly. I also have some miscellaneous project updates for you all. Sylvester Williams Park, the fencing repair and replacement project will begin towards the end of next week, and that was included in the Parks and Recreation budget for this year. The temporary power pole request has been submitted to Duke Energy for the Lanark EMS construction site. At this time, the notice to proceed date is still set for May 4th, unless the contractor is able to move the start date up with his scheduling. We also have the striping projects underway, and the SGI basketball pickleball court concrete pad has been poured. The 6th Street Dune walkover is nearing completion, and there's netting going up on the 2 batting cage projects that were actually funded by TDC sales tax proceeds. And also the EOC septic repairs were actually completed this past week, and the EOC is now storm ready.
Good, good. And Aaron, just for the public's knowledge and my remembrance, DOT had said in that pre-construction meeting that they're supposed to start on Highway 98 from Jefferson to the bridge and actually the field in between in April, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep, so we should have a lot going on here locally.
Oh, yeah.
pretty soon.
Well, that's supposed to include that four-way stoplight, so we'll see how that goes. The other thing, Miss Aaron, is, and I haven't showed you yet or talked to you yet about it as far as doing it, but we have the area there in between, close, adjacent to the current parking lot the county owns by the boat ramp in Eastport. We've bought more property, the TDC has, and so I have the original, the initial sketch on what we could potentially do there for improvements. I
Okay,
want to talk to you about that so we can take it to the TDC board for their, forwarding to the county. So I just want to make sure, make everybody aware of that. Anyone else have anything for Miss Aaron?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, real quick, Aaron, have we heard anything about the Kate's Electrical quote for the Brewman Park batting cage lights?
no, not yet. I did request, I actually requested for all 3 parks, and Mike is supposed to be working on that.
Okay, good. Thank you. I just wanted an update on that. Appreciate it.
Aaron mentioned about the district
Yes.
striping
Yes.
over in District 3. This is just for public knowledge. District 3 has begun a striping project,
Good.
which is they're moving along.
Yeah.
Moving along, so.
Good.
It makes the roads in District 3 look a lot different, doesn't it, Commissioner?
Yeah,
It really
it
does.
does.
Oh, man, good.
It really does. It's a good job, sir.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Alligator Point got their striping too, so
Got
they're
theirs done?
happy.
Good.
They're happy. I wish
All
they'd had
right.
it during that fog, because that's what was so bad about it, because the fog is so thick down there on Alligator Point.
I can imagine.
And, but anyway, we got it, so
Aaron,
that's
while,
a good thing.
that just brought my attention to something else. Sorry, Mr. Chairman. I know we've got some task orders coming up for some
We do.
resurfacing and widening of some roads within all of our districts. Can, and I know I've talked to the engineer and someone with Roberts and Roberts from this. Can you look at or add to that task order Bear Creek Road and East Point?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, yep.
I was talking to our road department supervisor, and he mentioned that, so I figured we'd at least get a task order and see what it's gonna take. I know I've talked in the past about it, it's a small road. We are limited by the power line easement, because the
Okay.
state owns the land, so, but we're gonna have to do something there, I don't know what, but we gotta figure it out.
Okay, gotcha.
So Commissioner, is that gonna potentially be able to be widened? Is that
No,
the problem?
it cannot be widened, that's the thing. I was gonna get it widened, and resurfaced, but there's an easement right along the line that the state owns that's Duke Energy's also, and they will not allow us to, they're not gonna grant us easement rights to the road, to widen it. And then the other side, it would have to go into the property owners, cause there's no right of ways there.
Wow.
It's a small, you've been back there.
Oh, yeah,
Very, very
it's-
small.
Yeah.
So anyway, we gotta figure something out, but I don't know what.
Yeah.
But we'll figure it out. Thanks, Aaron.
Anyone else? Thank you, Ms. Aaron, we appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Mr. Morone?
All right, Commissioners, I have 5 action items. The first one is about Alligator Point beautification project. I believe Commissioner Sanders has seen it and been in touch, I hope, Commissioner Sanders, with the
Yes,
group.
I have been in touch.
Okay, thank you. The next one is the item that Mr. Kirschenbaum talked about last meeting, where we're gonna transfer the funds, 500,000, to move it from the maintenance building that we no longer need, because we found a maintenance building, and what we're gonna do is clean, regroove, and restripe all of the runways and the aprons. The third one is Mr. Kirschenbaum wants to attend MRO America up in Atlanta. He's filed for a grant from, a scholarship, I'm sorry, like he did last year from Opportunity Florida. Commissioner Amison would like to appoint Ms. Kristen Willis to the Weems Board of Directors for his seat. And Kim Bodine has asked that we reappoint Ms. Sheila Hauser to the Career Source Board of Directors. And that's my 5 action items, and it could be consent. Mr. Chairman, your call.
Okay. Commissioners, is there anything that you want to talk about that we need to pull, or are you good with approving all 5 of these at one time?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to pull action item number 3 for
All
discussion.
right. Anyone else? All right,
I just got a question about
okay.
4.
What's your
4.
question?
Okay.
And pretty simple, I guess. Ms. Willis been appointed to the Wings Board.
Mhm.
I know she's will be a practitioner soon.
Yes.
So, say if eventually, I guess, she wanted to practice at Wings, she had to vacate that position, correct, or not?
If she was actually working at Williams,
Right,
that would
if
be a
she wanted-
problem, yes.
Yeah, she had her own business, I don't think so, but if
Yeah.
she was working at Weems, you are correct, Commissioner.
Okay.
That would create a conflict.
Commissioner Cream, I haven't read Mr. Marone's report, but I will look into the matter regarding the conflicts, because there are conflicts regarding, voting conflicts and employment conflicts. But I will discuss it with Mr. Marone and be in touch with you and the other board members about that.
That was all.
Okay,
To answer that, she's not looking to work at Williams, she's wanting to do Botox.
Okay.
So if any
Well,
of
I
y'all,
was
there's a
hoping to do
pitch for her future business, if you
I
need
was
some
hoping to do
Botox, go see KB.
God bless him.
all right. Any
Let me
other,
be hopeful.
any other questions? All right, so we can, if the board's good with it, then we can approve 1, 2, 4, and 5 by motion.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Amison,
Second.
second by Commissioner Ward. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous. All right, Mr. Morone, let's go back to number 3.
Okay, you guys need me to read it, or how do you want to handle it, Commissioners?
I mean, you don't necessarily need to read it. It's on public record. The public can read it. I'm curious, one of 2 questions. One is, the $2,500 for the travel expenses, is that gonna be paid from the airport
Yes.
budget? Or
It will be
airport
paid from the airport budget,
fund?
yes.
Okay. And then the amount of the grant application for the scholarship?
So last year, he applied for 15, and let me see here, because I made sure I asked about that this morning. Last year, we applied for 15, and he was able to get $13.56 and 67 cents.
Okay. So if there's a amount that's offset, or we're gonna have to come back and basically retroactively approve that?
Oh, no, ma'am. So we pay, because theirs is reimbursement, so we basically pay for it out of the airport funds, and whatever scholarship money he receives, it goes right back into the airport funds.
And it shouldn't exceed that amount, because
It
they.
should, yes,
Okay, all
yes.
right.
Yes, ma'am.
That's all I had. Thank you, Chairman.
All right, not a problem. Any other questions, discussion?
I just, with that MRO America, that's just a refresh, and I can't remember if Commissioner Croom was here at the time, but that was under the recommendation from Triumph
Yes.
and both Opportunity Florida, that we haven't taken advantage of those scholarships in the past, and Triumph was really more, they were more motivated for us to do that because it brings potential MROs to the airport, creating jobs, and they can, in their words, spend some money in Franklin County.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
And Commissioners, originally he said, I think he told me actually 2,000. I went to 25 just in case, he didn't think, because he's driving to Atlanta and he's gonna drive back down. So it's basically the rooms and the, I guess the meals, the expenses. It's not like where they went to Las Vegas last year. Yes.
Do we have to pay money to attend the event?
Probably registration too, sir.
You know what I mean? Because we have to pay registration to go
Yeah.
to all our conferences.
Yeah, to your own event, yeah, no.
That's
Yeah,
included in
there
the
probably is a registration fee,
15,000 though.
Mr. Chairman, yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Pleasure of the board.
So
so
moved.
moved.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Amison, second by Commissioner Ward. Any discussion further? I would like to say this is part of this, but it's not pertaining to this. I was talking to Mr. Rowan yesterday. We've never, this has kind of been new for us. Commissioner Sanders, we've never really had an amount of funds at the airport, like a regular, so we've never really put out a budget for how we're gonna spend those funds. And I know we've been expending quite a few of them. It probably might not be a bad idea if it's possible to have that do this year's budget process, if not the next year. So we know ahead of time what we're setting aside for what, instead of it just being, you know what I mean?
Yeah, one big open,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
yes.
that's,
Yes, I would say to y'all, Commissioner Sanders, and I had that discussion earlier.
That's
She
my
said she would
concern.
like to have next year, how much is allowed for travel?
Yes.
How much is allowed for salaries, et cetera, purchases? Yes, and
Yeah, I think
that
that's
is,
a good
that is a fair statement, that needs to happen. Because
Well-
there's more activity now, I'm sorry.
no, it's not just for us, it's also for the public. They need to know where those monies are being spent.
That's right.
And what they can expect them to be
Yes.
spent on. Any other discussion before we vote? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous.
All right, Commissioners, the only true discussion item I have was alternate meeting dates. So in June, the second meeting, and the date escapes me right now, conflicts with your FACC summer conference, which is the big conference, the important one, where you get to really network, you get to see the vendors, et cetera, et cetera. So and June is the one that's, I would like to actually schedule today. The ones in November and December, we could look at a later date as you look at your schedule. I did in fact check with Judge Schuler's JA, Ms. Teresa, and she said possible other dates during that week is Tuesday, which is the 24th, or that Friday, which is the 27th, or she said even Monday, the 23rd. So the Monday, Tuesday, or Friday, there is no conflicts with the court schedule that week.
Mr. Chairman, the
Yeah.
27th's out, because we won't be
What?
done till the
Yeah,
Friday.
because, so the Thursday and Fridays, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Friday's out, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
So
Yes,
it'd
it
be
is.
Monday or Tuesday, the only
Yes,
option then?
really
So
is.
the 23rd available?
Yes, there's no conflict with the court schedule on the 23rd, that Monday. Neither is the Tuesday, the 24th. And Commissioner Amison, I see you looking at me like I'm not saying something right here, so let me look at my calendar.
The
24th is
24th,
the day we gotta travel down.
yeah,
Yes.
That's true.
Yeah, that was normal for us, though.
yeah.
Yeah, we would
And-
we'd meet in the
yeah.
morning. I would make sure that agenda is really short to get you guys out of here as quick as possible, because you gotta travel and get there
Yeah,
for that evening event and registration.
I'm okay with the 24th. I don't know what
Yeah.
everybody else got, but 24th's good with me.
I'm good with either day.
I think Commissioner Croom is checking his calendar. I'm gonna wait for him to take a peek.
23rd and 24th is fine.
Okay, so can we do the 24th? Everybody good with the 24th? Okay, that's what we'll do. I'll put it on the website, put it on the calendar. Okay, so That take care of that. Thank you so much. Everything else is information items. So I did, in fact, we did interview and we hired Ms. Gail Mathis for the senior activities director. She is raring to go. She said those people, I hate to repeat it her way, she said, those people in Carabel asking me every day, when are we gonna open?
They ask
So,
me every day too.
let me tell you something that was good. It was actually Steve Patterson's idea, because I always try and bring in another director with me when I'm interviewing. He suggested something I did. He suggested we talk to the sheriff about the meals. He said, well, they're cooking at the jail every day, Michael. I did. I talked to the sheriff yesterday. He will be glad to provide meals the Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays that we're going to be open at first, which would help. We could still have accounts locally just in case as a backup. You guys know me, I like the backup. But yes, and hopefully we could have them delivered. And I said, Sheriff, I understand there's a cost to what we're doing, especially if a deputy has to drive over it. He said, no, if there's anything, it'll be a minimal cost. But yeah, so he will provide the meals for the center. And we will probably get an account with that's the IGA over there, isn't it? Yes, with the IGA, with their deli, just in case there needs to be more. So we got that. Courtney and Kim are going to work with Gail. We'll probably get a few games. Probably get a television with like T-Mobile internet or something, so some TV, the news, could, whatever, play in the background. Yeah, but she said to me, most of the people over there prefer that they open at 8. I was gonna recommend they open at 9 or 10. She said, no, probably 8, so that'd be her call.
She knows them the best because she's
better than I do,
She's
that's for
been
sure.
dealing with them for years over there, so whatever Gail says,
Is what we go
it's
with.
pretty much true.
So just wanna let you guys know we're there with that.
Mr. Chairman, real quick before you move on, I was ecstatic. I was texting Mr. Morone, like, I'm so glad that Ms. Gail was afforded this position, because she does know the seniors. She's worked that for a long time.
Mhm.
And, she was displaced when, what happened. So I'm happy to know that she gets to come back. And I know that the seniors are gonna be happy to see
Yes.
her
Oh,
come
yeah.
back.
She's estimating about 5 to 7 to begin with, but she says as word spreads, we
Oh,
will,
yeah.
she expects more. And Commissioner, there might be a possibility that there's so many at some point that come back to you to give her some help. Another part-timer, a few hours a day. So we'll see how it works out. But
Great.
she says she thinks also she can encourage volunteers to help her with the seniors too. So this looks like the beginning of a good deal here. By now, hopefully you've seen it on social media everywhere else. Leslie Street, there's ribbon cutting. I was going to say Commissioner Amison, Commissioner Kroom, Attorney Schuler. That should make clerk. That should make all you guys happy that Leslie Street will be open officially. On Monday, March 31st, there's a 10 a.m. ribbon cutting. And, some of us will go over there and clap and say yay, and then usher the traffic right into the courthouse so they don't have to drive around anymore. So, yes. EMS update to let you guys know, Aaron and I met with James and Louie. We have another meeting call on Friday, I believe, at 10. And you should have a timeline in front of you here, hopefully at the next meeting, as to when we can get this done. Louis is very positive about this, saying that we can get this conversion to happen by October 1. So I'll go with Louis, see where we go.
And on that note, Mr. Chairman, sorry, but we need to look at, I know we're kind of still up in the air about Weems, but we need to look at making, if we're gonna make EMS county employees, we may need to really heavily look at, and I'm one of 5, making the hospital employees county employees too. It's only fair. I know, again, we have to be careful because we still kind of are trying to figure out what to do with Weems. We're trying to get out of the county, the business, hospital business, so I don't want to be contradictory, but anyway, we need to figure something out with that if we can.
Yes.
I know it depends on which direction we go. I totally get that. But I've got to bring that up.
I've got to bring something else up, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
The clinics are being thrown together, and I would like to see James or Jim, whatever his name is, with Riley with Baker Tilly. I would like to see the numbers separated.
For the 2 clinics, like
the
separate
2
those numbers?
clinics.
Okay.
That would be good.
Because last time, that's the one thing I put my hat on is for, because the thing about it is when he presented those numbers, James Riley, whatever his name is, last meeting, he said that the two clinics together was, had a deficit of I think it was around $857 a day. And I know that's not the case, because I know the clinic over here in Carabel sees anywhere from 18 to 20-something people a day. So I don't see where he does that. So we need to pull it out to where you really see where what's making money and what's not making money. And also, those employees in those clinics need to be considered for something also, because those are local folks that can go off anywhere else and get a job anywhere else, making a whole lot more money, but they want to stay home to help the people. So I think that needs to be considered too. So that's, I'm glad you brought it up, Judge.
Okay, so,
Mr. Chairman, if I can, one thing to keep in mind though, Commissioner Sanders, whenever Baker Tilly said that, he was saying that the clinics were showing that loss, but with the referrals into the hospital, and there was no way to track that, you know, for the blood work or whatever, was actually offsetting that loss. So that they were not technically at a loss, just with the data that he was able to look at, numbers was showing it as a loss, but you gotta understand with those referrals back into the hospital, it was offsetting those losses, so they weren't technically at a loss, the clinics.
I'll talk to James and see, so we'll get numbers and see, and I'll take what Commissioner Amison and see if he can give you numbers with that offsetting amount, which will lower what their loss actually is, with that line of thinking.
I know myself, I use the Carabel Clinic, and when I need testing, I come to Appalachia.
Yeah.
I mean, they're pushing Appalachia Hospital.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in other words, it's not, you can't compare apples to apples, oranges to oranges, because it's not. It's a different, it's
You're
a
right.
different.
You're right. But even if it is making money, Commissioner, what Mr. Rayleigh said here and told all of us is overall, it's all bleeding funds.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
I mean, any discussion about making everybody a county employee, I guess we're gonna go up on our ad valorem rate, because there's not enough money in the tax to cover that.
Well,
I mean, it's just not.
let me say this too, so,
I just support it.
Yeah.
we have Mr. Chairman, you and I have a meeting scheduled coming up with Mark soon to talk about, you know, how we move forward. Mr. Chairman, what you don't know, after we talked yesterday evening, I got a text from David Boland. He's setting up a meeting for you, myself, Aaron, to go to Taylor County to talk to their board members and their CEO about how this works, you know? So, I'll say this, Commissioner, I guess we're there at that split in the road, because, you know, county employees work for the county. So you can't expect county employees to work for a private entity that's trying to provide health care. So
understand
you know,
that.
so once, I guess what I'm saying, once we get more information, then we need to decide which direction we're going and what we want to do.
Right. Well,
you know?
even, Michael, even if however that works out, we've been here before, Commissioner. There's only 2 or 3 major providers around us. And what Mr. Rayleigh told all of us and the public was based on everything. He did the research. We need to partner with a larger facility. We need to find a larger partner, whomever that is. That's exactly what he told us.
Yeah, but, Mr. Chairman, I'm really concerned after the last few days of watching the news from Tallahassee and the city of Tallahassee and the hospital, TMH up there, and FSU, there is some questions. So we need to really sit back, let them handle what they need to handle, and then see what we got.
Well, they're voting today.
Yes, this afternoon.
Yes.
This afternoon on whether they're gonna do it or not. I know Marco Bryant was on the television talking about it, and he said had they not brought the subject before the city of Tallahassee on trying to do another board, they wouldn't have known. You know, so
that's right.
But something about they were wanting to do a second board, because the first board's over the TMH part of it. The second board would be like the outline areas, and I mean, there's all of it. It's kind of confusing. So, anyway, we just need to sit back and watch what they do.
Oh yeah, we'll find out. So what's interesting is that That, I didn't know that that was the city owned all that.
You know, I didn't
Yeah, me
either.
either.
Till I saw it.
75
Yeah,
acres,
it's all city owned, so.
75 acres.
Yeah.
But
They
they'll
own.
do whatever they do, but yes, we're not bound to anybody. But, you know, that was advice that we were given by the consultant we hired.
Well, and you know
Is to
that,
partner with a larger
oh,
entity.
yeah, and that leaves the question, if you do it through, and I mean, we're just discussing
Yep.
this because we got a little time.
Well, we're sunshine, go ahead.
We need to discuss it though. Do we, the board, if we go by a hospital district, do we still retain ownership, or does that board, that governing board of that hospital, that this board, you know, appoints?
So,
or
so all the
whatever,
property would still belong to the county.
it would still
Yeah.
belong to the
Yes.
county? That's the reason why it's doing it up
Yes.
there in Tallahassee,
Yeah.
is
Yes.
because the property still
Belong
belongs
to
to
the city.
Tallahassee.
That's right.
Almost a similar situation,
Yeah.
to be honest with
Yes,
you,
it
is what
is.
they've been doing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
But it's
Yep.
good to know.
yep, and hopefully we'll have more information for the board at the next meeting, once we, get these,
Thank you.
discussions going. Item number 10, is the phone system, status on the upgraded phone systems. As you see there, you know, we're getting there, but, you know, it took a little longer in the beginning because solid waste, animal control, solid waste, what other hat that's found to wear?
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec, thank you. So, you know, they had no internet and no network structure. So we had to build that first before we could upgrade their phones, which took a couple of months and put the project a little behind. But as you can see, we're getting there. My main purpose of doing this is to publicly thank the clerk and thank Mr. Danny Gay over in the clerk's office, because commissioners, I'm gonna tell you, without Danny, we wouldn't even have what we have done completed right now. He is, I don't know how many ways I could express the support Danny has been providing for this project. More than I can explain. When the project is over, I'm sorry, I'm personally gonna write a letter of thanks to him and have him come in here, and hopefully everybody stands up and clap, because I'm telling you, for this phone system, it's great, it's good for the future, but it's a lot of work to set up. It's a whole lot. So, Madam Clerk, I want to thank you again for your, letting me use your employee in the way not use him, but him assist me in the way that he does. Let me say that.
Mr. Morone, about the phone system,
Yes, sir.
at what point will we, I guess, start changing email addresses?
Oh, as soon as,
Like, because we got people still using Yahoo around there.
well, yes, as we get to each department, like at solid waste, we've converted those to the .govs. And it's-
Already?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so
That might be why.
can I say Fonda's address publicly and I don't get in trouble with it?
It's
So
public.
basically, it's Fonda D, his first name, last initial, at franklincountyflorida.gov. That's Fonda's email. And everybody else, as we get to these points, that's what we're doing, unless some agencies already have that .gov address or an address that equals to that, then the company works with that provider, that Office 365. But all your county departments, they'll all have .gov, and commissioners, as soon as this is finished, I know you don't want to hear this, I am changing your emails to .gov from .com, because the legislature actually says, for security purposes, I have to move you guys to .gov.
Well, mine's already going to
Yeah,
.gov.
yes, but you have both at .com because you wanted, to see Word documents or something, yes. But you don't, your .gov isn't as active as it's going to be. That's going to be your primary address, the .govs, as soon as this is over, sir.
I just got used to
Will it
dot
change
coms.
the login interface and all that stuff?
Yes.
All that will change?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yes. A lot of changes, and it'll change the whole,
Is it a good change?
it's a good change.
Okay.
Some people don't think any change is a good change, but it is a good change. And it would also change the archive system for your emails, and it'll make it easier for me when there's a public records request to be able to get your emails too. That will also help. So, yeah.
All right.
So, yes, that's where we are with that. And I think before I let you guys talk about Legislative Day and Rural Counties Day, I'm gonna let Courtney pop in, because she texted me like 10 times. No, I'm just kidding. She texted me, don't forget about me, don't forget about me. She's so eager to show you this because she got it up online. And here she goes, the Courtney Show. Is
Oh, I
she
see that.
muted? She is muted. I don't think she might realize that.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
We do.
can hear you now.
Good morning.
Good
Morning.
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 You know, you guys created this new, or Michael created this new department called Community Services Department. It's kind of a one-stop shop for things that didn't have a home. And it handles the code enforcement and compliance and peddler's licenses. And working with Cloud Permit has been amazing. And I did want to show you that on the county website, I did put a news update on there, but it takes you directly to the Community Services Department, which houses the portal for the code enforcement submit a concern, and it also houses the peddler's license. So now when people want to pull a peddler's license for your mobile food vendors or stands, I get those people coming in all the time, you know, asking for applications or trying to renew. They can now do that online with the new portal. They have to create an account to get onto there, and it sends them an update on how to apply for the peddler's license. I do have some how-to videos on how they can submit an application. There's the map there that shows them where they're allowed to peddle on Franklin County property. I do have where it says alternative peddling locations where it's commercial private property, unincorporated Franklin County. I did link the other one, City of Appalachian, City of Carrollville, since they handle their own peddler's licenses. I have all the information on there about the ordinance, the price. So if you guys want to just check it out and, you know, let me know what you think, and if you think I should add some things or take away. So this is just the first step, because, you know, we'll be adding other services as well, like the short-term rentals and other business professionals. But right now we are ready to rock, and we are actually live with the business tax receipt for peddler's license. So I just wanted to share that with you guys today.
Thank you, Ms. Courtney. Can you back up to the other one and open the map on the, not on the peddler's license, but the other one?
The compliance portal.
Yes, please.
Oh,
Is this the map you're wanting to see?
Yes. So you can see, and then all those,
The pins?
all those pins, if you click on it, it can take you to that particular complaint, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so what I've learned is that I learned this last night, Commissioner, you kind of drill down, like where it says 4. If you click on the 4, then it'll separate the 4 to the 4 separate ones.
Yes.
You click on one, and then it pops up with I kind of really like how it shows the status of the, there you go.
Yes. Yep, okay.
that's interesting, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
Well, it's all public
And
information, so.
then you got, and Courtney, I'm not trying to steal your thunder here, but I'm just excited about this app. If you guys see on top where you can filter by people that are building without a permit, campers, blah, 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 you know, so that even lets you filter more if you're specifically looking for something.
Yeah.
I believe Bay County, either Bay County, Panama City Beach, or Panama City uses this application for everything. It's a one-stop for them, billing department, you know, billing permits, zoning, everything.
Mr. Chairman, we've come a long way in the almost 5 years I've been on this board with transparency on our website, and that's because of this board. You know, we pushed, and your help too, Michael. And the Florida Association of Counties at our conference, when we went to Legislative Day last week, there's an award
Yep.
or recognition that we can apply for, and I want to apply for that because I feel like Franklin County deserves it. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. I'll have to go back and peruse
It's
my email.
innovation something. I don't remember
Innovation
the whole
something,
name.
but
Okay.
I feel like that we need to apply for that and let Franklin County get recognized for their hard work and dedication for their county website. It's about, everything that they said, the requirements of what the award is for, is this. I mean, what Courtney's done, what you've done, what we've done as a board to make it happen, and the community and the public's input of what they would like to see. I mean, is it the best? No, because I've been to other counties' websites, and I'm like, man, that's nice, we should have that, but I know baby steps, you know? So I just feel like that we need to be recognized, and I'll get that information to you.
Thank you.
There's a QR code somewhere in my emails, I have to go back and look, but anyway, thanks to you, Courtney, too, because I know this is a lot of work on your end, and other people's work, so thanks to you and whoever else had a part in this. I know you've probably been on the phone a lot with our web groups to get this done, so thank you.
I'm trying to work smarter, not harder.
Appreciate
True.
it, Ms. Courtney,
Yeah,
really do.
well, you know, you know me, guys, my concept is if you guys aren't gonna give us more staff, we're gonna be using some software. I'll be very honest with you guys.
Yeah.
Now, Courtney, which one of these apps or windows is the one we're gonna use when we go, like, with the tax certificates, the business tax certificate to register all the businesses? And-
It will be the peddler's license one.
Okay. I
That's
just
gonna be
want-
our business tax receipt.
Yeah, thank you. And there's something else we're gonna use it for. Oh, when we.
RV permits.
The RV permits, yes. Same application. So it'll all be in one, basically.
And they're still working on that, Ms. Courtney?
Yes.
Okay.
And once we get, I guess, just a general of how, you know, the ordinance is gonna look and all that, then we can kind of, and how much is gonna, the price for the RV permits are gonna be. All we have to do is just click activate. So we're just waiting to input that stuff in there. And the business tax receipt is actually ready to go. It's just, we put as much information in there as we can. It's just the only one that we've made active for this one is the peddler's license. That's the only one that's ready to go right now.
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, just to add something else to it, and these upgraded things on the website keeps me as a commissioner from having to call county staff and say, what's the update on this, especially with the sanitary nuisance things. I was just on this the other day. I was looking at something in my district, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, there's the description. It tells everybody what's going on with it, where it is in the process. And I even tell people in the community that call me, I said, yes, you can go to this website, look at the updates, and then they're not calling our county staff and bombarding them either. And not that I still won't pick up the phone and call somebody if I need to, but it's still just a nice added feature where I'm not having to be on the phone calling Courtney every day, asking her an update. So I think
Now,
that's a good feature.
it doesn't give like a complete status, like it'll give you a status saying that it's open or it's active. But as far as if you want more details, I worked on it all yesterday about how to use the map, how to create a complaint, how to check the status of a complaint, and the important disclosure information. So if they want more detailed information, they can email that request to the concerns email.
And Courtney, just, Mr. Chairman, one more question. The pictures, I know a lot of times when y'all go out and take pictures, the pictures are also, now, some may not have pictures, but how does that, when they get uploaded, is there a link to look at the photos of the complaint? I know some may have pictures, some may not.
Not necessarily. I would have to change that feature on there. So we want the public to see. If you guys want the public to see any photos or more detailed status, I can definitely work with File Permit about updating that to kind of make it more detailed.
Okay, I would like the pictures on there, that way they can look at it, but
Okay.
anyway, that's just my thought.
Yeah. Ms. Courtney, you've done a tremendous job. We do thank you for it. It's,
Thank you.
it's a very good thing.
A lot of work went into
It
this.
is.
She did good.
It is. And you know, talk about innovation, it's gonna be an interesting budget process this year. Because we're gonna have a whole new look,
Yeah.
so,
Excited.
thank you, Ms. Courtney.
No problem.
All right, Commissioners, the last thing I have written in is Legislative Day in Rural Counties update.
You really wanna know that?
Yeah, well, yeah, based on the pictures, I'll tell you what, if I want something given away, I'll put Commissioner Sanders in that tent. I learned that lesson.
There you
I
go.
saw that, for sure. And I will tell you this, and I told him this morning, Commissioner Kroom, got a lot of props. I've heard from outside about those shells.
Yep.
So I asked him to please, speak about that program, how it started and how we got there. But the floor is all yours, Commissioners.
I just made, I made contact with, the art departments with both schools, the Apalachicola Bay Charter School and Franklin County Schools, and, ask them, hey, can y'all, have your students to paint some shells for us so we can give them away to, up there at Rural County Day, and they was glad to do it. And it was a lot of, unique shells. A lot. It was, we had people come to the tent. It was like over 250 that we gave out. And so, I guess the goal was for me, was, when our senators and our legislators and the aides come through and they put the shells on the desk, that they constantly are reminded of Apalachicola and Franklin County.
Yep. That's cool.
But other than that, it was good. I was able to, I went up to the fourth floor and was able to talk to Senator Simon for a little bit, and he wanted to get down here and make contact with us. He told me that a couple of times while I was speaking with him.
Good. Good. Anyone else? Commissioner, you were there 2 days. I was only there for 1 day. You were there 2 days. I was only there 1 day, so.
Well, I enjoyed myself, really. The thunderstorm wasn't happy. I wasn't happy about that. But a little rain never hurt nobody, did it? But and I was able to get my brother to go with me and everything, and I just loved that. But all the small counties there on Thursday, I just love those small counties. They're our sister counties.
Yeah.
And we had Al Austin came by, the former senator and congressman. He came by and visited with us and everybody. But I said, this was my thing. Next year, we're going to have oysters from Franklin County. That's going to be us, not shrimp.
They're going to close the rest of it down.
It's going to be oysters. And I warned Wakulla County about that because they were next up with the oysters. So, but it was like Bradford County had strawberry shortcake. I mean, they're known for strawberries.
Yes.
Liberty County had the honey.
Yep.
And I mean, it's just all so good. And they asked me, they said, what is this all about? I said, it's about showing off our individual counties and what they have to offer to the state, really and truly, because we help make up the state of Florida.
That's right.
And I can tell you, there's a lot of people that used to not know where Franklin County is that knows where it is now.
Yes.
And everything. So I enjoyed it. I really did. I have to say, and I'm going to say it, Mr. Chairman, I have to say I'm quite disappointed with Representative Jason Schoaf, because we were up there from Tuesday afternoon until Thursday afternoon, and never once did I see him. And we were in some of the committee meetings and everything else, and I was real disappointed at that. And I'm just going to say, and I was so glad that Senator Simon took enough time out, even if it was just 10 or 15 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever, to come and appreciate us being there. And that makes a difference.
Well, it was a busy day. The only day I was there, I was kept busy by the Association of Counties. So I was back and forth, trying to.
Yeah.
But it was good. And I'll say we haven't said it a whole lot. Folks, for whatever we do or don't do, without the ability to understand and learn from other commissioners and from having discussions, open discussions about all these different myriads of things that we go for or have under our purview as county commissioners, without the help from the Association of Counties, you would probably have a lot different board up here. They provide a lot of stability, education, everything they do. It's been tremendous for me. That's been my experience. And yeah, they keep us busy with stuff, but it's all about the collective whole 67 counties, 67 strong.
It's all about Florida.
It is, it
And
is.
it's about that. I can remember the time when it wasn't so. And that's what was disappointing to me on one of the committee meetings that we sat in.
Yeah.
We saw one of the state representatives, not from our area, but I felt like she was basically trying to pit the larger against the smaller.
Yeah.
You know, with a certain legislation that was coming up.
Yeah.
I felt like she was, and I said, we've done been there and done that, and that was back in the early 2000s. So you know,
Well,
so
yeah,
hopefully-
that happens, because, so even like with the term limit stuff they're talking about, the states want to limit all the county commissions to an 8-year term limit. Folks, there are 20 charter counties in the state. 12 of them are already voted for term limits. They're all the biggest counties. But the way they're presenting it this year is they want everybody in the state to vote. So they want the 12 biggest counties that already have term limits to vote on term limits for everybody else. Because I'll tell you the honest truth, hand on the Bible, I can remember my dad told me years ago when they wanted to pass the net ban for shrimping.
94.
He said, son, you're wasting your time to even talk about it. I said, what you mean? He said, there is more people in one HOA in Miami than there is in all of Franklin County.
Yes, that's right.
He said, so you're wasting your time. So if they really want to have a vote on term limits, let each county vote for their county.
Well,
Don't make it a statewide vote. That's ridiculous.
And Mr. Chairman, that was my problem with it, because the representative was not wanting to just enact it, because the way she was wanting to do it, she was wanting it to be a constitutional amendment.
Yes.
And to me, you know, we give an oath every 4 years when we're elected
Yep.
to defend the Florida Constitution.
Yep.
The Constitution of the state of Florida is the way it goes. And I'm gonna tell you something. I do not believe term limits, but there's a lot of stuff I don't believe needs to be in that Constitution, but I don't believe term limits needs to. I mean, I just don't believe that's the place for it.
Well, Commissioners, you bring up an interesting point. We are term limited. We're limited every 4 years that people have to vote again. And, you know, just in the 8 short years I've been here, you came back, but everybody else is new
Yeah.
in 8 years.
I came back by the grace of God.
So I don't know, anyway,
Yeah.
but that's enough about that. But that's
I know.
one of the things that they're looking at.
I get sad when you talk about it.
And I'll tell you this, what I've realized, and it's one of my frustrations, is with terms, it takes so long to get stuff done.
It
That
does.
you really need
It really does.
2 or 3 terms to get everything done.
Yeah.
It does.
You know,
Well,
I
like
mean, it's ridiculous.
what Miss Aaron was talking about earlier with the stormwater project on St. George Island,
Mhm.
that the board supported, it was a completely different board, because that was 5 years ago. But we had COVID, we're dealing with the U.S. Department of Treasury, so everything's got to funnel through them, and now we're finally about to start the project. That's 5 years later. I've done went through a whole nother term, and we still ain't done it yet. So, yeah, it takes a while.
And another thing too, Mr. Chairman, that's like when I came on board in 1998, it was 8 years before I even got a road paved.
Oh, I experienced that.
You remember?
Yeah, when I come on, I had,
It was the same way.
$3,000 in my budget.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 3,000, that's what was left.
It was all spent.
Yeah, it was, but it's okay.
Mr.
But
Chairman,
anyway,
I will
That's the way
say,
it goes.
before we move on, that and this is just a funny little anecdote. I wanted to make a meme to say I marked ourselves safe from navigating the Capitol building.
oh my gosh.
Because it is ridiculous if anybody's ever been up there.
big.
We were going from here to there, we ran into a dead end, we were going back out to the street side, and we didn't know where to go, and Google Maps didn't help none, because it was the Capitol, so, but anyway,
That's
I
right,
just thought
before
that
you
was
had
a
to
funny
run
anecdote.
to the elevator, which one it showed you.
I made it.
Yeah.
I made it. I'm just happy.
We
I
figured it
made
out, though, we figured it
Yeah.
out.
But it was good, and we, as many of us as could, were there representing the people of Franklin County and having discussions with whoever would listen to us about things that matter to you, the people of Franklin County.
Yeah.
Anything else, Mr. Brown?
He's done,
No, you're good, you're good.
checked out now.
All right, well, before we go to Attorney Shore, let's take a 5-minute break. Franklin County Board of County Commissioners now back in session. Up next, Attorney Michael Schuler.
All right, Commissioners, I have 3 action items for you to consider this morning. One is the Alliant contract, which was part of my original report. I have included the addendum based on my understanding of the instructions at the last meeting. The next 2 action items are the ones that were added at the beginning of the meeting. One is a request for board permission to schedule a public hearing to consider possible amendments to the parking ordinance that was adopted last year. And then the third action item is board authorization to advertise a request for proposals for the 24-25 REAP grant.
Okay, then we can consider all 3 of those together. Commissioners, do y'all have any questions about any of them? Or do y'all want to pull one to discuss it, or are you good with voting for all 3?
Wouldn't you have to pull number 2, Mr. Chairman, because he's asking you.
He's not talking about number 2, he's talking about 1 and the 2 he
Oh,
added
okay.
at the beginning of the meeting.
Okay.
Sorry.
That is correct, Mr.
Yes.
Chairman.
I'm okay with doing it on consent, Mr. Chairman.
All right, pleasure of the board.
So move.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Ward,
Second.
second by Commissioner Amison. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous. All right, Attorney Schuler.
Commissioners, item number 2 on my report, it deals with the interim airport manager contract. At the last meeting, there was discussion about that issue, and I went back and started, in fact, Mr. Brown sent me an email wanting me to just amend the interim airport manager contract with Mr. Ted. I started looking through my electronic files, couldn't find any information. I looked at the minutes of the board meeting, and it turned out that with Mr. Ted as the interim airport manager, the board made the decision not to have a written contract, but they just gave him board direction. So the reason I'm bringing this back to you is, do you want me to prepare a contract for the interim airport manager, or do you just want to give him board direction like you did with Mr. Ted?
I think it would be better to have a contract,
Okay.
because we're setting what we're gonna do going forward. I think that worked for that time, me personally, but I think it needs to be a contract.
I'm in agreement, Mr. Chairman.
I am too.
Okay.
And
I was looking
Mr.
for
Chairman,
direction, and I
also,
now have.
Yes.
On that note, me and Attorney Schuler discussed it. He was wanting to reach out to AFCON about a template, but we've already got a template. We have that Puckett contract. All we'd have to do is just, or Attorney Schuler would have to make the necessary changes on the compensation. But I don't see why we should have to.
I've already reached out to request a copy of that former, of the airport manager contract with Mr. Puckett.
Okay.
I haven't received it yet, but I have reached
I
out.
got
and
it. Why don't
requested
you want
that.
me to send it to you?
Okay, well, I'll get with you then.
Gotcha.
All right, do we need to do this by motion of vote, Attorney Schuler?
I don't think so. I was just looking for direction to which way the board wanted to go,
Okay.
and I now know. And Mr. Chairman, you may want to jump in for the discussion on item number 3. It is a discussion item on my report. It's rather lengthy, and I can go into as much or as little detail as the board wants, but the sum of that long narrative is that as the board considers moving towards mandatory garbage pickup in the county, you only have really 2 options. If the option is to have a franchise agreement, which would then displace any other current carriers, there is a public hearing requirement. There is a 3-year waiting period essentially, and then at the end of that waiting period, you would have to pay any displaced provider 18 months of their gross revenues. There are 9 exceptions in the statute that deals with displacement of current haulers of garbage. One of those exceptions is that if you move towards mandatory garbage pickup, but you don't displace anybody, then none of those waiting periods or requirements for payment are required. So that was the sum of the information I wanted to get to the board. You may or may not be at a point where you're ready to discuss it, but I know that this grant from FWC for the bear-proof cans is coming up pretty quick, I think in June, so I figured it was just time to bring this up publicly in my report and for your consideration and discussion.
I have a question.
Yep, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Chair. So, with this, you said the 3-year notice. So you telling me we gotta wait 3 years to even?
Yes, sir. That's what the legislative directive is in the statute. The state statute, just for the, although it's in my report, it's in chapter 403. And if there's going to be displacement of a current hauler of garbage based on a county ordinance, then the process is you have to have a public hearing that's advertised. You have to give 45 days written notice to all the current haulers of that public hearing. Within 1 year of that public hearing, you then can commence the process of moving towards a county process that would displace current haulers. But there is a 3-year waiting period, and at the end of that 3-year waiting period, you have to pay 18 months of gross receipts. Now that means all their expenses are not considered. It says gross receipts in the statute. Perhaps the lesson to take away from that is, boy, they got some really good lobbyists. So, yeah, it shocked me when I came across it, so I'm sure you're as shocked as I was when I first read it.
To dumb that down for me, if you got Commissioner Jones's trash disposal and Commissioner Amoson's trash disposal companies, and the county decides they're gonna go with Mr. Jones, then it's a 3-year waiting period to begin with. Then you're gonna pay my company
18 months of your gross receipts.
Wow.
Yep.
Damn, I'm in the wrong business.
Oh, you should have seen the conversation Chairman Jones and I had when this first came to my attention.
Because the statute used to read that you had the 3-year period, or you could do the payout.
So now
Now it
both.
reads both.
Wow.
Yeah, it's even worse.
Yeah. So the thing that the attorney presented here today, though, is, so there is a path forward still if the board wanted to pursue it. There's only 2 that I know of in the county. We could just say, okay, you have to choose one of the 2, but there's still things to work through, because if you're going to mandatory trash pickup, that everybody has to choose one of the 2. You know what I mean? And if everybody's not being covered, then it's not mandatory trash pickup.
Right.
You know what I mean? So how you gonna divvy out and know for sure that between those 2, everybody's covered when you don't have a franchise fee with just one of them? So that would be the other thing. Attorney, so let me ask you a question. When we, in going through this, and we're not deciding today, we're just discussing it. When we get to the point where we want to do it, could we say, okay, we're willing to partner with whoever's actually gonna do the billing? They have to bill their customer, they have to collect the funds, all that's on them. And if only one of the companies is willing to do that, is that gonna cause it to run us afoul of anything?
Based on that statute, if it's a county ordinance, it very well might. I mean,
But the county by ordinance is not deemed that only one is a franchise. If they're not willing to do the billing for their customers and the collection, then they would be forfeited theirself.
Possibly. I mean, we're at the beginning of this, not the
Yeah.
end of this, but that is certainly an issue to be
Yeah, I've been
looked at.
discussing this too long, sorry.
I know. Well, and that billing issue is one that, on all prior occasions, when the county was talking about mandatory garbage pickup, and it hasn't been for this current board, I mean, the last time it was discussed was many years ago.
Yes.
But the service providers at that time, if there was going to be mandatory garbage pickup, they would require the county to pay them up front for the service and collect the money back on our tax bills.
Yeah, that's why. it didn't
Commissioner
work.
Sanders remembers all that. And that was always a deal killer for the board, because you do not have a current billing system in place, and
Right.
the boards in the past were unwilling to try and create from scratch a billing process, or to do the billing for the garbage providers. So it always just sort of died on that point.
Yep.
So having them directly bill is, I think, the ideal way to go.
Yep.
How do the companies do it now?
That's what I was about to ask. How does the city of Apalachicola, because I think it's.
Well, they do it through
Through their taxes.
their utility bills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Yeah,
all-
because they're paying water and sewer.
Okay.
Yeah, but we're talking about unincorporated, so right now, don't they do all their billing themselves and
Yeah, they
collect?
They do
They
their own
do.
billing themselves. That's
But I
correct.
remember before because it was right when I first come on the board, we had discussion, and at least one of the providers, I remember sitting down talking to them, they said, we're not doing any billing, y'all just give us the money and we'll take
Yeah.
care of it.
And
I do remember that.
Yes, and that was the hang-up. We were like,
Yes.
that's your job, yeah.
Right. But currently in the unincorporated areas, the county has nothing, it's just a private contractual relationship between the property owner and the garbage hauler.
Right.
And I strongly recommend the board not get in the business of collecting garbage bills. I
Yeah.
just-
Okay. Any other questions with Attorney Schuler about this, or discussion about this?
Okay, and then, information items, just for the public record, there will be a public hearing on Friday, April the 11th, 2025, beginning at 5 p.m. To consider the PUD evaluation ordinance. The meeting at 5 o'clock will be for the land plan, you sitting as the land planning agency, the LPA, with the consideration of the ordinance adoption to follow at 5:05 or as soon thereafter as the LPA meeting is concluded. An update on the St. Teresa Avenue Road abandonment petition, subsequent to the preparation and delivery of my report to the board last week. I did receive an email from the attorney for the property owners with their new petition. I just wasn't appropriate to present it to you at this time, so I'll be presenting that to you at a future meeting. That's my report.
All right. Anyone have any questions for Attorney Schuler or concerns?
I have one.
Yes.
Attorney Schuler, last week, the week before, we had some discussion about the dangerous dog issue with the state ordinance and the Franklin County ordinance.
Yes, sir.
If there's any way you could find time, could you check and see if we are, at least compliant with what the state standard is now? Because I've had some further conversation with people, and I myself don't have a legal eye, but it does look as though we are a little less lenient with the new update from the state, which was in 24, I believe, if my memory serves me right. We adopted, or we had the, I think it was in 23, the county adopted then the state standard, which was 2015. And I think there's been some changes in that year time just to make sure that we are at least there, and to let my fellow board members know. I'm gonna probably bring up a discussion for us to consider possibly being a little more stringent on certain topics within that ordinance on the county, because I'm sure some of y'all got some calls, we've had some issues, but that's just gonna be a discussion for down the road. But I'm just giving y'all kind of a warning shot across the bow.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be having that discussion with you all before long.
Well, Attorney Schuler, based on, I know what he's talking about, and I've been reading it because I've probably had discussions with the same people he did. So this is the way I've always understood it. Whatever we do as a county, we can be stricter than the state, but not more lenient, correct?
Depends on the state statute, but that's generally a true statement. Sometimes they assume the entire field and don't allow local government to regulate.
You right about that?
I mean, sometimes that happens. But to specifically address the question raised by Commissioner Amison, the current county animal control ordinance provides that we adopted as our standard the state standard for dangerous dogs as it existed at the time of the adoption of our ordinance, and as the state statute is amended in the future. So, and I'll be happy to sit down with Commissioner Amison and go over some of the details, but actually I think our ordinance adds a little more to it than the state statute does. I think that they may be reading it in reverse, because we have a provision there that deals with animal attacks on other animals, and that really doesn't appear in the state statute. So ours actually a little bit broader, but we are able to follow the current standard for the state statute on dangerous animals regarding attacks on humans. But there's also no harm in taking that new language and plugging it into the current ordinance with an amendment. That way no one has any questions. I mean, that can be done. If the board directs me to do so, I'll be happy to.
Well, provided that you're speaking of, the language you're talking about is good, but I think it would be better if the plain language of the ordinance reflects the statute. I do think that would be better.
Okay.
I know what you're saying covers it legally, but that's not what people are reading when they read it. So, you know what I mean?
I will compare the two, and if there are any amendments, I'll bring it back to you at the next meeting for you to consider.
Sounds good.
Commissioner Amerson, we sat through a committee meeting last week, and they brought up the dangerous dog situation. So I believe it's gonna be a little bit more stricter.
It's gonna be very strict.
Yes,
Right,
so,
right.
when I was hearing the testimonies
Yeah.
and, you know, how I was talking about it, I thought about the incident you're talking about. Okay, so, but FYI.
Okay, great.
Oh, it,
Those incidents actually involved the loss of a
Yes.
family member.
Yeah.
yeah, that one,
It was not good.
that one that came up there, that, I mean, it was bad. That was that was bad right there. I
But it
felt,
was about the same subject matter.
yeah,
It really was.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, 'cause it caused,
But on that, and correct me if I'm wrong, the commenters that commented on those issues were sheriffs from the county.
Yes.
So, does that sheriff have animal control under their purview, or is it under the county's purview?
I think they were just there
Yeah.
as sheriffs,
Supporting.
you know what I mean?
Because they dealt with the,
Well, they're
Yeah.
the
That would
chief,
be,
they're the
uh,
chief officer for
law enforcement.
that in the county, so. But it could have been, yeah, I don't know the answer to
I
that.
know some counties have,
Yeah.
animal control under the sheriff's office,
Yeah.
so.
Mr. Chairman, I've got something, I don't know whether we got to talk to the attorney about it or Mr. Marone about it. But it's sunshine ethics rules. And, you know, I asked you the question the other day, Michael. Any of our boards or committees, there's some that not subject to sunshine and ethics, there's some is. I've had some concerns from a couple of boards come before me and asked me the question, so I'm just gonna say, I think what we need to do is everyone on our boards and committees, have they took the sunshine ethics? I know you send the link and everything,
So-
but I think what we need to have in the future is have a sign-off sheet, basically. We have to do it. We have to do it as commissioners, and to make sure that everybody has had the sunshine law and the ethics rules. Okay.
If you remember, the board in fact did pay for each of your boards, including Weems Board of Directors, to have that class. I believe each one was recorded, so every time there's a new member on the board, that administrator, whoever's administrator, would ask me for the link, and we'll forward it to them. Now, we do not have a sign-off sheet
We need to
saying,
have that.
you know, I say that I, you know, based on perjury, blah, 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 that I have taken the class, I understand and accept, you know, this responsibility. So I could get with Attorney Schuler about a simple one-page sign-off saying that you have taken the class, we put it in a file, and we deal with that moving
Then
forward.
if we're questioned about it, we can say, hey, they signed off on it.
Yep.
And let it be known, those people that take that sunshine law and ethics, if they sign their name that they took it, and it's perceived to them violating that, then it comes back on this board. And I can tell you, myself as a commissioner, we're gonna go ask questions. And that's the way I feel, because everything is in the sunshine here. I mean, we're in the sunshine, you have to stay in the sunshine. That's your moral code about yourself. And I just feel like, you know, we need to do that. It's very important for our committees and our boards to assume the same thing too, because like I said, if it looks like what do they say? If
A
it
duck?
looks like
It quacks like a duck.
yeah,
looks like a duck.
yeah, but it's something different. But anyway, it'll be all right.
Michael, if you would also clarify, so we'll know, because I don't
Yeah.
know. I personally don't know.
I don't.
I know the
I don't
Williams
know.
board actually makes decisions. All of our other boards are advisory boards, so do they even fall into the sunshine? If you would clarify that for us as well.
I will.
Because they make recommendations to this board, they don't make any decisions.
They don't make any.
Just so we'll know,
Okay.
because I don't know how that reads.
That's why I said what I
Yep.
did, how I put it.
The answer is yes, that it applies to them.
Okay.
For your advisory boards, all
Okay.
of them.
All
of them.
From the TDC.
Well, I should just ask you, I'm
Williams.
sorry. I should just ask you, I apologize.
That's okay.
Well, sometimes
I'll
I say
speak up
that,
when
you say, well, I don't know, let me find out.
Hey,
Hey, Doesn't matter, Michael, who knows?
Right?
Michael, the two Michaels,
Yeah.
between the two of them.
M&M's.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. for
Not a
letting me
problem,
bring
not a
that
problem
up.
at all. Anything else before we move on? Oh, one more question. So I know we've been having some discussions about the TDC board. Is that something we're gonna have for the next meeting?
You mean,
Because we're vacant a board member and we're barely making quorums.
that's the issue that you and I
Yes,
discussed.
yes,
Yes, the answer is, yes, it's a conflict.
yes,
The other answer is, but there's an exception.
right,
That exception would mean that there would have to be a full financial disclosure. Because, back up, so here's the issue, you've got a person doing business with the TDC that may want to apply for a vacant position on the TDC. And if they continue to do business with the TDC and they're a board member, is that a conflict of interest? Yes, it is, because you're doing business with your own agency and it's a voting conflict.
Okay.
So for advisory boards only, there is a statutory exception in Chapter 112 that allows for a full financial disclosure, and there's a form from the Ethics Commission on, the disclosures that have to be made.
yeah,
That then comes back to this board, and then the county commission, under that statutory exception, has the ability to waive the conflict if you choose to do so.
okay,
I mean, I've researched that thoroughly since the last board meeting, and so yes, that is a tried and true. I researched ethics opinions going back to the early '80s, and it's all been very consistent. If you check the box as an advisory board, and you check the box of making the full financial disclosure using the Ethics Commission's been using the same form, I think it's 4A,
yeah,
for 40 years. And if this board approves the waiver that's provided by state statute, then the conflict is waived. It's not that it doesn't exist, it's just y'all waive it.
okay,
And then moving forward, we have to look at issues dealing with voting conflicts. They would probably, I think, in my opinion, have to abstain on any issue before the TDC, making even an advisory opinion that regards, they're doing business with the TDC.
So that doesn't just apply to a vacant seat, though, that applies to the seats that are currently being held.
That applies to everybody.
Yeah, we need to definitely have a longer discussion.
As long
about
as
that.
it's an advisory board. Now, if it's not an advisory board, I mean, that, the Weems may be, because they make a lot of decisions, so
Yes.
they may actually drift off into that category of not being an advisory board,
Right.
because y'all have delegated a lot of authority to them.
Yeah.
But, for example, the TDC is purely advisory, your Planning and Zoning Commission, purely advisory, the Airport Board, purely advisory, so, they would come under the purview of that statutory exception, which provides the waiver of the conflict.
Yeah, so I need to sit with Attorney Schuler some more, because I gotta run that ad for that vacant seat, but
Yes.
now sounds like I have to add more language to the actual application that we have out there for the TDC.
Well, what you're gonna run afoul of is you're just gonna have nobody wanting to volunteer for a board.
Yeah.
That's what you're gonna run afoul of. Because when did the TDC start? When was the first year y'all started?
2004.
This is the first time we ever had a problem filling a seat. That's all I'll say.
All right, that's for further discussion, okay.
Well, I believe you've got other people in the community that would gladly throw their hat in the ring, I know the particular person we're discussing right now with the conflict. I don't think we would, I think that's kind of been us wanting to try to give it to that person that come in third on the
last time.
the last scale, but I think there's still some interest out there. But my question, just real quick, is the TDC, is it an advisory board, or do they give the TDC director direction?
It's
They are advisory to this board. Y'all make the
Yeah.
decisions for the TDC.
Okay.
They're advisory.
And
So
Jim-
they make recommendations, we make decisions.
And Mr. Chairman, they have to fill out a Form 6 like we do, don't they?
No, they
Financial
fill out a
disclosure.
less intrusive, they fill out the same form I do, which is a Form 1.
Form 1. So a lot of people are
Form
deterred
6.
from that too, so they don't
Yeah.
they don't want their
Oh,
information
it's
out there, you know?
painful.
what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
So-
more painful for y'all, but
Yeah.
it's
I mean, it's
But you
for a
have to do
good
it.
purpose, but a lot of people don't want their business aired out on, the ethics website. Anyway,
Okay, I just thought I'd ask, because I mean, that's been several months, and we've never really come back to it, so,
Yes.
all right. Mr. Osteen? You're up next, sir.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm here today for a request for purchase, but before I get to that, I don't know if y'all are aware or not, but EMS community, our EMS family's been reeling this week with we've been mourning the death of one of our own, Mr. Joe Bush, one of our EMTs, passed away on March 18th unexpectedly. He was a great coworker, great friends, and he was a father and in-law to some of my EMS family. We do have services for him tomorrow in Bluntstown. I just ask y'all just keep us in your thoughts and prayers as we go through this process.
Thank you, James.
He's a good man.
He was. He will be greatly missed. Anyways, the request for purchases for the purchase of a LifePak, 3 LifePak 35 heart monitors in the amount of $166,024.83. Back in December of 24, Stryker came out to do their yearly maintenance on our LifePak 15s that we currently have, and it was found out then that the 3 we have currently in use are now out of warranty, out of update. They can't be updated any further, upgraded any further. They're at that end of life, as they state. So these would essentially replace those. I did do the due diligence of looking at additional LifePak 15s, not to really go upgrade to the 35s, which are more advanced technology. But when I did for the LifePak 15s, the total cost for 3 of those would have been $178,147.26. So common sense would say just go with the new technology with the 35s. I did give y'all a copy this morning, or had Mr. Monroe give y'all a copy this morning of the thing from Stryker that apparently they had mailed out a year before about expecting the LifePaks to go, those LifePaks to be phased out of the warranty. So yeah, I'm just here to request the purchase of 3 LifePak 35 monitors.
Okay. James, there is some paperwork here too in our packet that this is a sole source provider.
That's correct.
Yes.
Which means their technology is only for their monitors. They're not. It's not compatible with, say, like a Zoll, another name brand. They're not compatible with other devices.
Yeah. So if the board, I just want to clarify. So if the board did make a motion, it would need to be included in the motion that this is a sole source provider. And I guess we're talking about using it from the capital outlay side of the healthcare surtax, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, all those questions, I've talked with Mr. James Osteen at the beginning of the meeting, and one of the questions I was about the budget, but about Zoll. I know Zoll is not compatible with a lot of stuff you guys already currently have. It'd be kind of silly to go and change everything up.
Yeah, it would cost a lot more money to have to replace and get all the attachments and everything for what we need.
Yeah, and this does include the Entitle CO2 option as well.
It does.
So-
As do our current LifePak 15s. We also.
Right.
This is everything we currently have, plus they have the additional. Where the LifePak 15s have the 12 lead capabilities, these actually have the 15 lead capabilities.
Good. And just to let everybody know too, that you're trading in the LifePaks that are no longer useful to
Correct.
you. So you're getting about $10,000 off this.
That's correct.
$10,500 off of this.
That's
the
correct.
price of these. So the 166 is a lot less because you're trading in the old LifePak. So that's a good thing that we could do too to get money off. That's a lot of money. So.
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with this. So obviously it's something we need for our residents. I mean, gotta have them.
Yep.
So I'll make a motion to approve this
All
expenditure.
right, we have a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a second. The motion is by Commissioner, oh, my mind went blank. Commissioner Ward, second by Commissioner Sanders. I do have one question. How big are these units?
They're actually, are you familiar with our current units?
No,
They're,
not at
I
all.
mean, they're about,
Okay,
they're brick.
I only have one question then. Why is the freight almost $2,400?
That, I do not know. I'd have
I
to
mean,
check.
where are they
with-
located? Can we drive and go get them?
No,
mean-
no, they're up
If
north.
they're in a box that'll, you know what I mean? That seems
They're
like-
heavy though.
They are heavy.
Oh, is that what it is?
They're
Okay.
heavy.
So that's what I
They-
wanted to know. When I looked at it, I was like, $2,400 in freight.
They
Golly.
are pretty, yeah, I don't know the exact weight of them, but they are,
Okay.
they're a brick.
Okay. All right, it just jumped out to me personally, so that's why I wanted to ask. Any other discussion?
I was thinking these were crash carts. Is that,
No,
that's not what they are? Okay. That's fine. I
It's
was
a-
just trying to,
no, so it's just.
we got the
hard
medical
knocks.
down there, the lawyer over there, just layman's terms sitting here, so.
The-
Tell me what it
These
is.
are actually technically for EMS, it is a crash cart, because this is what they hook you to. If you're having an active heart attack or you're unresponsive, this is that defibrillator that shocks you.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's why they call it a
So it
life
is a
pack.
crash cart.
I mean,
Well,
it
that
is
is-
a,
that's
it's a.
technically
it's
is a crash cart.
That's what I
crash
was calling
cart.
it.
It's
That's
a-
It's just not a monitor.
Yes, it's that too. It's all,
Well,
everything.
it's.
Okay.
And you can stop by sometime, I can show you what we currently have, but it's a heart monitor, it's a big machine, it sits in our ambulances. It's got the leads, we can put the leads on you, we can check your heart rate, your heartbeat, do a 12 lead or 15 lead in this case with this machine. It can tell me if you're having a heart attack, or, if you have a heart blocks, or if you're, whatever's going on with you, if there's something going on. Obviously, it gets your blood pressure, it gets your oxygen saturations, it can get your carbon
Blood pressure,
carbon
entitled
monoxide,
CO2.
carbon dioxide levels. It can do a lot. It can actually still do. There is a capability of it to do even a temperature. That's a whole different.
Gotcha. So it serves more than one function.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, I cheated. My wife told me it was a crash cart. But she also told me that this was a vital part of the EMS because like in the case of a heart attack, it really matters on how they receive a patient from you guys in an ER.
Yes, sir. This
And-
is our main diagnostic.
Yeah, that's what, definitely. Then my only other question is, funding for this is gonna come from the capital outlay side of the
That's what
hospital
I
trust?
understood, yes.
Okay. All right.
All right, any other discussion before we vote? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you, James.
Okay. I also just like to say, ever since the word's got out that we're transitioning,
Yes,
since then I've received 9 applications.
good.
So
That's good.
we're working.
Thank you.
forward. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Patterson?
Good morning. How y'all doing today?
Doing good.
Real quick, Chester Reese received his provisional inspectors.
Provisional. I was trying to think
So,
of what that was the other day,
he's
and I
got-
could not
he's-
remember.
So he is officially able to go out and do inspections now.
Good.
So,
Good.
our first item is a critical shoreline application for 1632 Alligator Drive. It's a consideration of a request to construct a new 2,404 square foot single-family dock consisting of 1,960 square feet over surface waters dock area and 444 square feet covered boat one covered boat lift and one uncovered boat lift. And it's located at 1632 Alligator Drive, Franklin County, Florida. Request submitted by James Barrett with Florida Environmental and Land Services, agent for Chase McNeil.
All right, this was a unanimous vote at the PZNA, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
That's my recollection, yes, sir.
Okay,
And Mr. Chairman, the staff recommended approval as well, right?
right. Yes. Yeah. All right, pleasure of the board.
Mr. Chairman, so move.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Ward,
Second.
second by Commissioner Amison. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. Go ahead, Mr. Patterson.
We have a critical shoreline application with variance request at 419 McLeod Street. Consideration of a request to construct a 1,000 square foot single-family dock with 2 boat slips within Apalachicola Bay, along with a request to place 90 linear feet of riprap along the mean high water line of the bay. The project is located at 419 McLeod Street, St. George Island, Franklin County, Florida. Request submitted by Christopher B. Varnes, applicant.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to make a note for the record. I will have to abstain from this vote since I am related to the applicant.
Okay. So the variance, was it in relation to the riprap?
Yes.
Okay, that was also a unanimous vote of the PZNA board, wasn't it? All right. Any other questions, commissioners? If not, pleasure of the board.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by
Commissioners?
Commissioner Amison. Second.
Sorry to jump in there. So this was taken as 2 votes, 1 for the variance and 1 for the dock. If you want to make that clarification.
Okay, okay. So do you want to amend your motion to be
Yes,
for
I'll
the variance?
I'll amend it for the variance.
All right, and then Commissioner.
Unanimous second.
All right, so the motion by Commissioner Amison and the second by Commissioner Croom have been amended to reflect that we're voting on the variance. Any discussion, commissioners, before we vote? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous.
And make a note, Mr. Chairman, I'm having to abstain.
Okay. And then we need to vote, Mr. Steele, what's the second action? Just for the approval of the dock?
Yes, sir, the approval of dock.
Okay. Pleasure of the board.
So moved.
Have a motion to approve by Commissioner Amison,
Second.
second by Commissioner Crew. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous.
And again, Mr. Chairman, with me abstaining, and Mr. Rowan, I'll need to sign the 8B, I believe.
All right, Mr.
All right.
Patterson.
We have a commercial site plan application for 50 North Bayshore Drive. A consideration of a request to construct an additional 30 by 100 metal storage building with 10 individual 10 by 30 storage bays constructed on a concrete slab. Property is located at 50 North Bayshore, East Point, Franklin County, Florida. Request submitted by Render and Pamela Ward, applicants.
This was also unanimous, wasn't it not? All right, I do have a question though. Isn't this just an amendment to a current commercial site plan?
Right, it's that boat storage
Yeah,
there on.
I mean, they're just
Yeah.
adding stuff to it.
I was gonna say, I thought that was already that,
Yeah, it
already a
is.
boat storage place.
Yeah, it is. So, Steve, the only question I had, and they might have asked it at the PZNA, is where they're wanting to put that slab, is that it has nothing to do with stormwater or no problem with that
I think it meets all
requirement?
all requirements. They have a huge retention
Oh, they
pond
do.
there.
They do.
and-
Okay. All right. Pleasure of the board.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Amison,
Second with a comment.
second from Commissioner Ward. Commissioner, go ahead with your
I
comment.
just wanna make a note for the record, I am not related to these applicants.
You
I don't want
sure?
people to think that, because of the name of the applicants, that I have relation, and anyway, just make a note for that for the record.
All right. Any other discussion before we vote? All in favor? Any opposed? That is unanimous. Mr. Patterson?
Yes, I wanted to address the board about a couple of houses that were built at 143 and 163 Georgia Street in Lanark Village. Those houses were built without a permit being pulled, and they applied for a permit after the fact of the houses being built. I gave y'all a copy out of the Florida Building Code, Section 105, saying when a permit is required, and Section 105.7, the placement of the permit. So that's pretty clear when you're building a house that you would have the permit, that it's all required. And that's this is a violation of Section 489.0 .129 of Florida statutes, proceeding on any job without obtaining the applicable local building permits and/or inspections, and that would drop down to Section 3, job finished without a permit having been pulled or no permit until caught after job or late permit during the job resulting in missed inspection or inspections. Base penalty is $1,000 fine on the first offense, repeat offense is $5,000, and that is up to a $5,000 fine and probation on the first offense and a $10,000 fine and probation or revocation on the second offense. This was all turned into, I turned all this into DBPR. They've started an investigation. I've talked with the investigator. Communication with them is not, they're hard to get a hold of. I mean, when I call them, I call every day. I've been unable to get through, but he brought up some issues that he was going to look into that seemed even more serious than this. So we've been we haven't rushed to, I mean, they put in an application. We haven't rushed to give a permit on this because they disregarded our, Florida Building Code and our rules by doing it, so without a permit. So I'm kind of waiting on the state, some guidance from them. That's been my stance on it. And I don't know, how serious, the stuff he was talking about was, the investigator talked to me about, was some serious charges other than this. And so I've kind of, and this isn't my top priority. I've got hundreds and hundreds of people that have applied, that have permits and construction going on, and that's what we're having to deal with priority. So this is on our list, but it does not take precedence over everything else.
So Steve, I do want to ask a question. So some of the stuff you have here and what you've laid out kind of, I guess, is recommendations or discussion points. Let me say it that way. It's probably better to say discussion points.
Yes.
So they would have to have some kind of as-built survey. They would have to have something to do with engineered plans, engineered drawings.
Well, an engineer would have to sign off on every aspect of
Exactly.
construction because we don't know. I mean,
Yeah, so elevation certificate, at least one of these houses in an X zone, isn't it?
they're both in X zones.
And they're built on the ground?
We won't
That's
know
not-
exactly it without
Anyway, that potentially might run into problems, but that's answers that other people have to answer for us, or for them, is what
Right,
you're
we don't
saying.
know we don't know if they meet setbacks. There's a lot of issues that so this is all, the stuff I've given you there is stuff that we would
Yeah.
have to have answered
Yes.
before. Now, if we, it's, I think it's a very if you look at what the little bullet points I made to you, those are,
Yeah.
everything is very reasonable, but,
So, Mr. Chairman, are you saying, Steve, that once the people get this information to you, then you would issue a CO?
well, this is
or-
a discussion. I wanted y'all to all read over
Okay.
this, and we'll talk about this, after y'all have time to digest it and look at all of it, and, because y'all Commissioner Jones brought up some points
Yeah.
to me that I hadn't thought of, and so
Yeah.
I would like y'all to look over this, get back with me with your input on it, and, any questions you may have or concerns to make sure that we're covered as the county, and
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Steve, let me ask you something, because they hired you when I left. So, have you ever had anything happen like this before?
No.
Where a builder came in and built not one, but two houses without even obtaining any permits whatsoever?
no. And I've talked to other building officials. I'm pretty close with Wakulla County building official and the Gulf County building official and the Liberty building official, and nobody's run into somebody. People have done remodels, people have built pole barns and sheds and stuff without permits. That's not unheard of, but an entire house is unheard of, and to build two of them is,
You're talking about everything from the ground up.
it's,
And you said that the business and professional regulation They're looking into it, they're investigating.
Yes, that's under
it,
investigation, and we've turned everything into them.
And they're supposed to get back with you?
Mhm.
Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna just tell you my view on it. My view on it is, since this has never happened before, I think everybody needs to pull a permit in Franklin County that intends to build a house.
In every
Now, we
county.
invite anybody in this county that wants to live, we invite that, but we have a process to follow. And if that process is not followed, then we look to the building official. The building official is the one that puts his name on that building, whether they can be occupied or not. And he's asking us basically, wait until the state comes down with their decision. I think that's what we need to do.
Mr. Chairman, I will say
Sit there and
though,
wait for
I do feel bad in the situation for the people that purchased the homes. But the question is, waiting on the state, are we looking at 3 months, 6 months, 12 months? I mean, I know anything that we've dealt with the state is a long time.
I don't know, but I mean, if we're looking at a house that was built without a permit, it was listed with a realtor, which you have to do a disclosure form. When you list a property, you have to fill out a disclosure form, say that it's an unencumbered property. I mean, that's that's perjury to not, if you say it's unencumbered and it's encumbered, which not having a permit is encumbered, I mean, is that perjury? I don't know. I'm not a legal expert, but this, when you start digging into this, it gets really messy. And since we haven't dealt with it before, and nobody that I've talked to has dealt with this situation before, it gets really messy, and I don't want us to do something that's I don't want the county to take a hit and I also don't want people coming in and running roughshod and saying we can do whatever we want in Franklin County. They don't matter. And I mean, and I want the process of the law. The county didn't do anything wrong. Nobody in the county has done anything wrong. We have,
I will say
this
this.
is somebody else came and built a house in the county without permits with total disregard for our, I don't know the contractor. I don't know him. I mean, he's built a few houses here, but I don't personally know him. I have nothing, one way or another against him. I don't know him.
Well, I will
It's
say.
not that you got to follow the rules.
Well, I agree with that. And two, if you as like Commissioner Sanders said, you issued the CO, we don't know if this stuff is up to code. Who's to say they move in and something, God forbid, happens, and that's gonna fall back on us, correct? So we do have to protect ourselves. I feel bad, it's a bad situation, but again, first time we've ever dealt with this, I hope it's obviously the last time, which I know we might talk discussions about maybe penalizing. I know we have the Florida statute, but maybe we need to come up with a different plan on that too, to make it more stiffer.
Well, we need to definitely look at it going forward. I don't know. I think we're limited in what we can do. That's kind of why I'm waiting on the state, because and input. I mean, I've got questions out to a lot of people that are and we're waiting on answers.
Okay.
And it's not that I haven't been addressing this, but I have a lot on my plate, and this isn't the only thing. I've got people that are following the rules that I do have to take care of.
Question.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's not so much that they broke Franklin County rules, they broke state law, if I'm reading this correctly. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, they
And
both-
then we're talking about a Florida licensed general contractor and a independent inspector that's done.
I don't
I'm
know
assuming they've
as
done-
far as the inspector goes, the only thing I'm concerned about is the contract, is
Okay,
permit
well,
for the
let me ask
contractor.
you this then, I mean, how do we know
Inspector broke some
that
laws.
every inspection has been done?
We don't.
I mean, once you put sheetrock over a wall, how do you know that wire? I mean, really, I've looked at the same emails we've all gotten. And just from the atmosphere of the email itself, I feel as though that the potential home buyers, and if I'm not mistaken, have only made a deposit. There's been no actual purchase of any housing or anything, because they can't do that legally. But this is more so, these things are put in place to protect the potential buyer or the homeowner down the road. I mean, if anything, we're on the side of the homeowners or the purchasers, the state and the county. So that, just some of that, like I said, I feel as though it's become it's our building official against not allowing somebody to get in their home, and that's not the case. I mean, I'm sympathetic to individuals involved with this, the buyers, who I'm not sympathetic to is the contractor and whatnot, because I'm flabbergasted that you can build 2 houses without ever building or pulling a building permit. I mean, that's just, my question, if you go to a construction site, there's this big old box sitting there that's got a permit on it. This would be, what potentially has been asked of us to do would be, we would, how fair is that to all the contractors that abide, or even the self-builders that pull their permits? Going forward, I see such a precedent that we set, this would be the Wild West as far as contractors go. They can just come in and sling up whatever they want. We've already got issues that we've been dealing with already, and they've got permits. I just feel like if we're not careful here and make sure we do our diligence with this, it could potentially become an issue down the road to where we just get cluttered with people slinging up whatever they want to sling up, and here we are.
Right.
I agree with Commissioner Sanders.
Well, my question was along the lines of Commissioner Ward, was with DBPR, and how long that usually takes. And no one can answer that. You was in conversation with them, then all of a sudden they're out there. There's no communication.
Well, I've got people I can talk to at DBPR that are not, the investigator is the one that's actually, I have the people that I turn in stuff, the people that I deal with is I turn, concerns into them and they look into them. But the investigator is who is the one I need to talk, and he's been very difficult to get a hold of.
Did anybody get the DPPR's director's cell phone number last week?
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. I got the first 3 digits.
We got
I got
her
the
number.
first 3 digits.
So call her and tell her the investigator's
Yeah.
not returning your phone call.
Yeah.
That's the only option I see.
We can get it from FACT.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
an
She said for us to call anytime we had a problem.
She wouldn't have given her cell phone out. She didn't want
Yeah.
anybody calling her, so. well,
she
look
did
at it.
do that now.
She did.
She did.
She got
did.
Steve, I do have a question though. And I know we're not gonna make any decisions today. I don't think we are, because this is a lot.
It is.
But even some of the things that they would need to do that's gonna require other people's input. So I don't want this to be looked at as a checklist. If we do all these things, we're good. Cause I don't know that they're gonna be able to answer the stuff with the
Right.
elevation and stuff.
No, I don't know that they'll make, I don't know that, we don't know that, we don't know what the engineer would say, we don't know what,
I don't
there's.
have a clue.
So, that doesn't mean, just doing this doesn't mean that it's gonna be
Right.
approved.
That we would call it, and I'll just say it, I wanna make sure the public is aware. So I have a conversation one-on-one with the building official. I said, look, I know we're limited on what we can do as far as fines by state statute. I said, but I would not be above the fact of asking DBPR to fine these individuals $50,000 for each occurrence.
Right.
I don't have no problem with asking them to do
Well,
that.
yeah, I don't know what our,
None at all.
I don't know what the limitations are, and I don't know
This
if
is
it's,
ridiculous.
depending on where it goes, I don't know I don't know if this is stuff that needs to go to the state's attorney and let them dig into it. Well, I don't know, So
Well, none of
that's
us
kind
ever
of why
faced
I'm
this
waiting on
before.
DBPR to see what their assessment is before we,
Well, not only that, sir, you also had, who did the HVAC work? Who did the plumbing work? Who did the electrical?
Is it up to code?
well, it's all done without a permit.
That's what I'm saying, we don't know. There's so many unknown
They
variables.
didn't realize there wasn't a permit pull when you got subs sitting there?
But
I
anyway,
mean, it's just
don't work.
Failures on many accounts, and, yeah, I'm just gonna stop there.
And they had power hooked up to them, both of them.
Which I did talk to Duke Energy about that. I talked to Mr. Mixon about
Yeah.
that. And he's been working with you on that, right? Or
Yeah.
for future?
Yeah, we have had issues in that end of the county a lot over the years.
Well, I'll be honest with you, I asked him if we need to come up with our own sticker.
We do have our own sticker, but,
So they definitely didn't use that then.
no.
But anyway, that's, any other discussion or anything the board wants to ask about this or add to this conversation?
Now, I believe, personally and professionally, I believe Steve is going down the right road and trying to get this rectified, because this isn't something that's gonna be fixed just overnight. And there's a lot of things that can happen, but anyway, I just wanna have faith, and I do have faith in Steve and the way he's proceeding. And I know the owners or the people that's supposed to be buying it, or, I mean, sending emails like crazy, but they don't understand. This sets a precedent in this county, and if we don't take it to heart and do something about it, that will open the door for more of this to happen, and we do not want that.
We can't not do anything about it.
Not just that, I mean, they could be asleep at night and the house catch on fire. I mean, no, we
Yeah.
don't, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a
Well, you know
reason
what
why,
I-
there's a reason why there's a process to this, you know.
It's about safety as much as it is.
Exactly.
Yes.
You know what I worry the worst about when it's something like this? The foundation of the house. Was it thick enough? Was it, you know, 'cause like ours, it's 3 to 4 blocks high, and then, you know, 4 to 6 inches of concrete in it after you pack the foundation down, but you don't know. So anyway, I think Steve, in my opinion, I think Steve's doing the right thing. He's not trying to cause no inverse or adverse effect to anybody. I just think he's trying to do what's right.
He's trying to do his job.
He's trying to do his job, yeah.
Mr. Chair,
No, so that would have been public comments. I had none filled out, I apologize. Y'all have anything else y'all want to say about this, Commissioners? I think we've about discussed it to death, but I'm trying to keep myself on an even keel. All right.
But
With
y'all
that-
look over, if y'all don't mind, look over all of that and get with me, and we'll, any ideas that y'all, things that y'all see that you want
Yes.
to need, if you see anything that needs to be added or whatever, just,
Yep.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I've got one thing I need to bring up with Michael Morona. When he said the sticker, I made me remember.
I was gonna tell you about that.
Lanark Village.
Lanark Village helipad. That was, we stickered that and sent that in 2 weeks ago.
Yes, and we need to get those lights on out there, Michael. Push
I'll call
Scott Mixon
Yeah.
or something to tell him to come on and do it. We have Carabel crews now that can go out there and do it. It's the office.
Yes, they do have people stationed in Carabel there.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, it's the helipad. We got to have lights out there. Been waiting too long for this.
Hey, let me, why write a note when I could just text it?
Okay,
There
do
you
that
go.
for me. Get back with me when you find out.
All right, now we're up to Commissioner comments. I think
got something.
I've said all I want to
Mr.
say.
Chair.
Go ahead.
Real brief. Commissioner Ward and Commissioner Sanders brought it up earlier under Mr. Marone's about wings and FRS. Excuse me. And I know, you know, we're trying to get out the management business ourselves. But, you know, we had a lot of people that left that hospital because of either no benefits. I guess they got them now, they got something on their line now, but I just hope, you know, whether, you know, we talk about FRS or different management, that, you know, it's an equivalent package for those people that, you know, work out at Williams. Because I know we lost a many people because of that reason.
Any other Commissioner comments?
I just got one small one. This is the first board appointment I've ever made, I'm sorry, board appointment, that's exciting, because she keeps blowing my phone up wanting to know if she's official. So Miss Willis, you are officially on the hospital board if you were watching. So that
Should
kind
be
of
a
makes,
good one.
that's what I was
Should be a
about to
good
say, it
one.
makes you feel good, because that knows she's gonna be engaged and involved in it.
Yes.
Yeah, Kristen will be a good one.
Yeah. Any other Commissioner comments?
So she always can come practice.
No, I just have to say, I enjoyed going to Tallahassee with y'all the other day.
It was good.
Yeah.
And everything. And I enjoyed going to the FWC meeting with you all too,
Yes.
because it's us working for the people, and I think now they know that we just don't squander our time, that we're busy doing and taking care of the people's business, and that's what we do. One thing about Wayne's, and I have to ask this question, because I'm seeing a lot of things coming from the federal government. I think we're all seeing things like Doge and stuff like this. one thing that came on the news yesterday, and mine was reliable news, was that the federal government is gonna ask, well, I wasn't on.
You're good, no, you just keep going, you're
But
good, I'm not
anyway,
trying to sidetrack you.
That the federal government is gonna ask some of the medical facilities and some of the health departments back a reimbursement of some of the COVID money. And
We
that's
turned
gonna
all
be-
ours back in.
Huh?
We turned ours back in. What was left over, we turned it back.
We
I think
just-
she's talking about that lip. that
No,
lip one.
they gave money during
This is
COVID.
COVID.
And
Okay.
our, Wayton's gave the federal government back over $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we gave it back. What we didn't use, we gave back.
What wasn't you
Yes,
gave
ma'am.
back?
We sure did.
I
That was
hope
during the
so.
years you weren't here.
I hope so, because
We did.
I don't wanna see us have to pay back a whole bunch of money.
We have to get that installment plan.
No, we did. That's what, well, that's what we were told, that we did.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I do have something, I didn't get to go with y'all, so I'll give y'all a quick update with the partnership. I was at the partnership, you all know that.
Yes.
We should have a firm recommendation for FWC by our next meeting, as far as our recommendation on what, given the parameters of what they gave us. So as soon as we get that official, I'll update y'all again, but we're moving to that portion of it now, so. And like we all know, we're under kind of a time crunch with that. We need to really have those recommendations firm by August.
Yes.
So, we should see some headlight on that, let's just say that.
Well,
But now, keep in mind, that is just a recommendation.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that that's what FWC is gonna
Gonna
do.
do.
And there will be other recommendations taken into consideration from other organizations as well.
Yeah.
FSU, the universities, the Seafood Workers, Watermen's Association, the partnership. I mean, it's not just the partnership, but I just wanted to update y'all on that
Okay.
right quick.
Okay.
So when y'all do get that, can you have Miss Betty send it to Michael so he can send it all?
Oh, definitely, definitely.
Yeah, so we'll
Along-
know.
Yeah.
Along that line, Commissioner Emerson, so Devin reached out yesterday, we're scheduling one of the meetings at the Armory, and the other one will be at the Chapman Auditorium, actually. Because he wants a bigger room to do a bigger presentation, he feels it's probably gonna fill, it would fill this room
I
up,
think
you know.
you did all the presentation you need to do it.
Yeah, so-
I'm glad he did. I was supposed to reach out to you as well about that.
No, we're good, we're good.
Okay.
Royce kinda helped
I
out
hadn't
with
gotten
the
anything
Chapman
on my
Auditorium.
mind at all, so.
Yeah, all right, any
I
other
think he did
commissioner
it.
comments?
I think he did enough
No.
presentation up there at FWC.
Michael, real quick, what those are is there's gonna be two workshops, those two workshops where the public can come in and engage. And then there's gonna be, two virtual, workshops as well. Did he give you those dates, or do I need to get the dates?
No, I'll get
for
it,
you?
yeah, he gave me,
Okay.
he did give me that, cause Melissa, and he talked to Royce, who did he talk to for the Chapman, what's his name?
I gave you someone's
He
number.
did.
He did speak to somebody?
Mhm.
His
Yep.
name is Nick.
Nick, he talked to Nick for the Chapman Auditorium, and Melissa at the, for the Armory.
Okay,
I'll get those dates to you guys, though.
The tentative dates, I've got them here, so just give them me and I'll let you know.
Any other commissioner comments? Meeting adjourned.